Welcome to Entrepreneurs and Fuego. We have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day today with interviews. This is the show where we document your journey, one digital footprint at a time. And we have with us Jesus Pineda. Do they call you Jesus?
Some people do.
Some people call Jesus. Hey, I know Jesus. Yeah, I know Jesus too. It's Jesus Pineda. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure, brother.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what you do, brother.
Well, you know, as you mentioned, my name is Jesus, and it's funny when my eighth grade year, my eighth grade teacher called me Jesus the entire year, and you know, so I never get offended when people call me that, but I guess I have my own insurance and financial services practice, affiliated with New York Life and Life Securities. I've been in the insurance and financial services industry for 6 years now. I started my career in 2009. I was a chemistry major at ASU. I wanted to be a dentist, and
all right. Now we gotta stop right here because all right. So you graduated from ASU. You have a chemistry degree. And you jump into the financial services.
Well,
what the hell happened?
Well, let me stop. I'll backtrack a little bit.
Exactly.
So I hadn't finished school yet. I started working at a local credit union.
Yes.
And I guess I was working in a lower income community. I'm bilingual. I'm originally from Mexico. My family's from Mexico. So I was in a lower income community with a lot of Spanish speakers. And what I started to notice was that a lot of people were uneducated, including myself, when it came to finances. And it was rare that somebody would come in and make a deposit. Most people would come in just to cash their check, and at times it would be their tax return. I mean, we're talking $7,000, $8,000 checks. They're just taking cash and taking it home.
Right.
And I started to realize, for me, in the bank, at least where I was at, my position, I didn't feel like I was making much of a difference. So I started doing some research. I realized that, financial services was something that really excited me. And part of it was because I was so uneducated. I mean, my first credit card, I obtained at ASU Maine because they were handing out, you applied for a credit card, they gave you a large Domino's pizza. So I'm
hungry.
I'm hungry. Yeah, I want a credit card. And then, of course, I maxed it out, didn't pay it, I didn't know what I was doing. And
so this education, I'm sorry, so this education, do you think is the fault of our parents maybe? That they didn't give us a little bit more of the home economics 101, that they told us, hey, look, this is how you walk the financial walk. We didn't have that.
Correct, and that's definitely the case for me. As I mentioned, my parents immigrated from Mexico. I was born in Mexico. I never lived there. My parents were already, they were farmers in California. They were part of the 1986 amnesty bill. So I never lived there. But yes, for them,
and they're Trump supporters, right. I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, it was never part of the conversation. We never talked about finances. I mean, your parents.
Did it feel like a taboo, or is it something that you really don't really want to talk about?
Yeah, you don't want to talk about it, especially when you see your parents working so hard, and sometimes they struggled, and you don't want to ask them what's going on, or it's not something that, at least for me and my family, it's not something we talked about.
So you see a need to take your passion of financial services and to provide education, really.
Correct.
Because you're seeing all these people cashing their $6,000, $7,000 checks, and you're probably going, hey, maybe there's a way that you can maybe invest that money, or you can save that money, or you can do something better, but not just having the cash under your mattress.
Right. Yeah, and that's really what led me to this path. I started as a 24-year-old. I was 24 years old when I started New York Life, and it was, a lot of people didn't take me serious. They're like, well, what are you going to teach me about financial planning, about protecting my family and protecting my business? So I made it a point to educate myself and really, I guess, work as hard as I possibly could. That's the only thing I could do. And thankfully, I've been blessed. I love what I do, but I really, focus on getting better, because I think when it comes to financial services and really insurance and anything, you have to continue to try to improve, or things will leave you behind. Especially, I mean, what you guys are doing here with social media. I mean, who would have thought that social media would be a way to to generate clientele or generate awareness when it comes to financial services products, or a way to educate the consumer. I know for me, I'm always searching for different articles that might appeal to my clients that will help them relate. So I think, just in my experience, what I see is people do want to do the right thing for their family and for themselves.
Sure.
A lot of times they just don't know who to trust, or they don't know where to go.
Where to go.
Right.
Or where to go. And so, all right, so is it fair to say that because of the fact that you have a family that immigrated from Mexico, they have Latin values, they come to the United States, they instill those values in you, but it's not enough, right? I mean, you still needed some type of education that would take you into this capitalistic system with your right foot forward, and you didn't have that. And now you're trying to educate that segment of society that you figured they need a little bit of my help. You talked about social media. Now, your generation, if you will, very versed in social media. You grew up in, not me, man. I mean, I'm like a typewriter, Corona Smith, But you grew up with social media, and that's what you know.
Right.
And there's that second, third generation that is growing up with social media. Mexican Americans, Latin Americans that are growing up with social media. So how did you educate that segment of society? Is that your target market? Is that who you are trying to educate, so that they don't fall in that fallacy that you fell into when, with Hispanic-speaking parents, and you are like, wait a minute, what is all this financial mumbo jumbo? What do I do?
I don't.
How do you do it?
Right. I love working with Spanish speakers. I always tell the story. I mentioned I started my career 6 years ago, but the first policy I ever sold was to my mom when I was 12. We had an insurance agent come to our home, and my mom was shopping for life insurance. Being a single parent, she wanted to protect. I'm the oldest, and I have a younger brother, younger sister. So we had a gentleman come to our house, and he didn't speak Spanish. So I sat there and I translated for him. Unfortunately, he didn't share any of the commission with me, but at least my mom was protected. But for me, I'm definitely very passionate about the Spanish-speaking community. For one, there aren't as many Spanish-speaking advisors as you would think, especially here in Arizona. I mean, we're almost 50% Hispanic. But I don't box myself into that, because if anybody is willing to give me the time, I work with a lot of individuals. Doesn't necessarily mean just Hispanics, but yeah, it is a focus. So you use social media. How do you use social media to go after that market? With for example, my affiliation is with New York Life, and although I'm an independent agent, New York Life does put restrictions as to what we can do or what we can put out there for the consumer. I mean, there are a lot of regulations. You can't, when it comes to financial service, when you're dealing with people's monies, the SEC, and there's a lot of regulations. So what they created a platform, in conjunction with Hearsay that generates pre-approved posts. I think, like you mentioned, my generation, they want to relate to real life stories. So I use a lot of videos, a lot of stories. One of my most successful posts on azfamily.com, there was an article, a gentleman, it was, 3 on your side, life insurance company refuses to pay death benefit. And I'm like, oh my God, what company is this?
Who would do that?
So I pull up the article, and it turns out this gentleman had a life insurance policy on his wife that he had acquired through a bank. He'd been paying this $250,000 policy for 7 years. And then, unfortunately, his wife passed away of cancer. What the article, I guess didn't mention in the title is it was actually just an accidental death policy, because she passed away of cancer. It wasn't covered. Cancer was not an accidental death, so he wouldn't, even though he had paid his premiums for 7 years, this insurance company, they weren't refusing to pay it. They just didn't have a right to pay a benefit. I posted the story, and I must have gotten hundreds of likes, and so many people reached out to me directly and said, wow, I didn't realize there are different types of policies. I need some help.
You're dead, you're dead. That's what we think. You're dead, you're dead. You're going to die, you're going to die.
Right.
And then if I have an insurance policy that I've been paying for 7 years, then you should pay.
Right.
But that's not the case, as you find out. And so, all right, so you're trying to reach your generation through social media, videos, blogs, picking up some very good articles, curating these articles and sending them out to the community. Where do you see yourself growing, say within the next year? Because you're a young entrepreneur, you've found a niche. Where do you see yourself growing?
Well, actually, this next week I'm headed to Dallas to do some specialized training. I'm always trying to improve myself in my knowledge. So I really would love to focus on working with business owners. I think small business owners is really what drives our economy, and I want to position myself as an expert in working with not only the business owners but the employees. I think, with the economic downturn, so many people lost a lot of benefits or have lost a lot of time. So I think there's a lot of opportunity, especially here in Arizona, with Hispanic-owned business owners or women-owned businesses, where there's a lot of opportunity to grow, in the business market, not just individuals, over the table, over dinner tables type stuff. So,
one of the things that you're young in your career, and have you experienced any type of failure?
Oh, absolutely, every day. The thing about
what kind of failure?
Well, the thing about insurance and financial services is people aren't calling me to buy life insurance or start retirement plans. So early on, I still get no's and I get discouraged, and a lot of
So you get all these rejections all the time.
All the rejection.
Do you take it personally? You think,
I definitely used to.
What am I doing wrong? Is my personality? What
right. So I've learned to get better, but you do at times take it personal. I did early on, and for me, when I started in this business, a lot of my friends, I always say that a lot of my friends were, the only people that had less money than I did were the people I was trying to sell. So I never, it was tough at first. So I decided to really create a market out of cold prospecting. I would, knock on businesses. I just, would pick a town or a little city like Old Town Glendale, for example. I'd pop in and just walk business to business, introduce myself. Bought a lot of cold leads of consumers that were interested, which of course nobody ever was. Right. And that's how I started, and really started to get some of the jitters out by just going out and meeting anybody that would that would give me the time and sit in front of me just to practice until my confidence was.
What was your break?
I had a lot of success really early on for whatever reason. I think I was,
Was that a good thing or a bad thing?
It was a bad thing because
Right.
my first 3 months,
Because that's kind of the Dan Marino effect.
Right.
You remember Dan Marino? You're
Right.
probably too young. But anyway,
No,
so he's a quarterback for Miami Dolphins, and he went to the Super Bowl the first year, right? So he figured it's going to be easy. He never won a Super Bowl
Right.
after that. So that's kind of what happened to you,
that's
right?
exactly what happened to me.
This is easy. I'm a superstar. And so what happened?
Right. The really the breaking point for me, or what helped me, start taking steps forward, was I realized that I wasn't making goals that were appropriate. I was basing my goals on other people's decisions, so I started to realize, I need to focus on what I can control, which
Right.
was I can control how many people I contact, I control how many calls I make, how many businesses I walk into. I can't control who's going to say yes, but if I see enough people, the numbers will work in my favor. It's a numbers game. And what I started doing, I remember the day, March 2010, I was 6 months into the business, and I great 3 months, terrible next 3. And what I started to do is I started a weekly score sheet where I would
Things fly around here. Keep going.
where I would I track my activity every single week. Certain things that are important to me are, how many people I'm reaching out to, how many people I'm actually contacting, how many handshakes I have. I really started tracking my personal activity and not worrying about, whether somebody was saying yes or no.
So you had your personal metrics, if you will.
Right.
And you gauged yourself and your success based on what you did. And so because that's the thing that you could control.
Correct.
So is that the advice you would give somebody coming right behind you? Not too far behind you because you're young. Wanting to get, it doesn't matter what industry it is, right? It could be financial industry, it could be in insurance, it could be real estate, it could be anything.
Right.
Where you eat or you kill. Where you have to go out there and make the sale, right? In order for you to be successful. Otherwise, as an entrepreneur, you have nothing, right?
Right.
What advice is that you would give that entrepreneur?
For one, I say you just have to be genuine. I think that's the thing that's lost these days is, with everything that's going on and all the information at their fingertips, a lot of times people lose the fact that they're individuals. And for me, a lot of the relationships I've built with my clients is just not pretending to be somebody I'm not, So I think people are even though social media is important and getting your online presence out there is great, a lot of times the relationships are still built, face to face. So for me, I would say just, be genuine and definitely keep score. Keeping score is what's really has taken my business to the next level. Is once I started tracking my activity and then analyzing it on a quarterly basis and then on an annual basis, I knew exactly what I needed to do every single day to make sure that things worked in my favor.
You're going to come back in about 3 years or so, let us know how things are going and everything else, and then another 3 years later, we're going to track your progress. I mean, this is what the show is all about, because we want to know how you're doing. That's one. But two, we also want people that are getting out of ASU with a chemistry degree or a philosophy degree or any kind of degree, man, to be able to listen to your story and be inspired by what you're saying. And they can go, you know what? I think I can do that. I think I can do that. And how to deal with rejection, which is what you learn, of course, in your own skin. Somebody could have told you, hey, this is how you deal with it. But it's until you get the no, until somebody says yes, that you savor the sunlight.
Right.
My brother, oh, by the way, one last thing is just kind of funny story. There's a great consultant who's a member here of the Office Pile. His name is Ron Marks. And we interviewed him also. He's been in business for about 45 years.
Wow. And
he does sales and business coaching. Just high-end guy. I mean, just really phenomenal. I mean, he will get you all pumped up and everything else. And improve your sales skills and whatnot. At the end of the day, at the end of the interview, everything boiled down to what? It's a numbers game. It's a numbers game.
Right.
The more you call, the more opportunity will be out there for you to get the sale, man. So you're doing the right thing, my brother.
Yeah, thank you.
And for being a guest of Entrepreneurs in Fuego, I'm going to give you this nice T-shirt.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
It's made by a great painter, a great muralist. His name is Benji Sakoya, and he's got a mural here painted here at the Office Pile. So
wow, thank
enjoy
you so
it,
much.
man. Enjoy it, it, and we appreciate it.
I'm going to wear it on my way out.
You're the man, brother.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We're out.